Starting and running a business is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're an established business owner or thinking about starting a side hustle to earn extra income, I am here to teach you how to show up as your unfiltered self, level up your business, and thrive as a mompreneur. Let's embrace the chaos and start enjoying the journey together. I'm Amy Traw, and you're listening to the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Welcome back into the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Today I am joined by Monica, and we are diving into a conversation all about something that impacts every single one of us, and that is self-limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome. So with that being said, Monica, welcome into the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited for this conversation today. But before we dive in, can you tell listeners more about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Yeah, well, I am Monica Cox. I am a stay-home mom of two boys. One is in first grade and one is just at home with me. And I also own a company called Finding Fertility, which helps women find the root cause of their fertility issues. We improve all areas of life, including mindset.
Which is huge. I
Yes.
am such a believer in that mindset is even more important than all the business strategy, than all the business know-how. Because if you can't get out of your mind, you're not going to take the action. You're not going to take the steps that you need to succeed. And when you don't believe in you, how do you expect other people to believe in you and buy from you?
Absolutely. I mean, mindset is the key, right? So I do a modality called Psych K, and it's a really easy transformative reprogramming of the subconscious mind. And the K stands for key. It is the key to unlocking anything you have ever wanted to do in your life. And both my entrepreneurship and my own personal struggle with fertility issues, I had to unlock, find the key first
Right.
and then use it to actually unlock really the path for me to get to my ultimate goal. Because, like you said in the beginning, the business strategies, there's so many out there and they all work.
Yeah.
But if you find yourself, switching and flopping and thinking, okay, I'll try this one, it's not because the one you have chosen already, or maybe the three that you've already done don't work. It's that you actually just don't believe that in yourself.
Yeah,
It's a hard
exactly.
lesson too. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Honestly, it is. And I'm glad you said that because a lot of times it is. And we tend to make excuses. And then it's like, oh, well, I must just need another course. I need to know
Mhm.
more. I need to know. And so we keep consuming, consuming, consuming. But until we're unlocking with that key, like you said, that's where that transformation happens. It's within us already. So, how do we even begin to start finding it? How do we start to overcome these self limiting beliefs?
Well, there's two ways. One, I truly believe that you'll start unlocking things when you're tired of your own BS. You're just tired of how life is continuing for you. That's usually when people are ready to take the steps, really take the transformations, because the next step is radical self-realization. You have to be willing to really look at yourself, at your life, where you are, what you believe, who you're surrounded with, what you really want out of life, getting rid of all the stereotypes, you know, um, for me, like, I'm really honest, like, part of the reason I started the business was to prove myself.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a really healthy way to start a business. So until I really tapped into the real reason why I started the business was to serve and to really get the information out there, that's when, you know, things started to line up for me, and when you start doing these things, um, you fall into the business strategy that works best for you. And you just feel
Mhm.
so good about that strategy, and you'll still see, like, the ads pop up, and, like, you'll see other courses or, like, those things, but when you feel so secure with yourself, you feel so secure with your business strategy, and that doesn't mean you don't pivot, right? Like, if things like if you put in something into place for 6 months and it's not working, you gotta be, like, real with yourself, like, "Okay, this isn't converting. Okay, how do I pivot from this? Where do I go?" Not go get a new course, learn something completely new, redesign my website, like those things.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's worth saying that, that discovery of self, that awareness, it's not an overnight process. And it can be
Mm.
a little uncomfortable. Like you said with yours, when you realized, like, okay, is this really the reason I'm doing this? But then you were like, no, my true purpose is to serve others. And once you have that awareness, doesn't everything else get so much easier? Because now you know what's in alignment, what's out of alignment, what's working, what's not.
Yeah, exactly. I think when you're ready to be really self-radical, you, are just more aware of the feelings in your body and your soul around every aspect of your life. So I don't want to say things get quote unquote easier, but they definitely, you're able to shift better. You're able to just be aware and like, that doesn't feel right. Okay, what's going on? Where do I need to look? Do I need to go have another, psych case session, another emotional freedom tapping session? Do I just need to go outside and go for a walk? Or do I just need a break? Do I need to, learn to kind of detach from the hustle and the grind? That's a big lesson I think most of us women have to learn, especially if we're solopreneurs, we're moms, we wear every single hat. It's really letting go of that perfection, letting go of having to do it all. Um, I'm I have a kind of radical view that feminism really kind of screwed us. Like, we weren't designed to work 80-hour work weeks in the corporate job or in our business and then work a 97 work week at home.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, that no. Do we have to choose? I don't think you have to choose between them, but you do have to have the realization that if you continue to do it all, you will burn yourself out and you won't be the thriving woman that you're supposed to be, first of all, then the supportive and loving mom, then the successful businesswoman, or vice versa, whichever way you want to put them. But, less is really more. And, I heard a quote that really changed my life. It wasn't even a quote, it was this TikTok. I wish I could be like more, poetic.
I love it.
But she was just basically like, do you really want $1 million business right now? Like, think of it. $1 million business. Do you know how much work $1 million business is to set up? All the gurus out there who tell you running $1 million business, or not even running it, I think running it's probably a little bit easier. Starting it from scratch is not as easy as they lead you to believe. I'm not saying that there's not unicorns out there, but for the large majority of us, and it actually has, and the reason it doesn't work out for most of us is because we don't start where we need to start, and that's the self-belief. And
Exactly.
if you don't have that, you're going to have imposter syndrome and it's going to be an uphill journey. So it's
Right.
almost better to invest, like if you have a business investment, to go just invest in your mental and emotional well-being, even if you don't think you need it. Like, I didn't think I needed it. I thought I was fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
And it's a lot of times in doing so that you realize that you're
Yeah.
not okay, because we do tell ourselves these stories. We do create these narratives in our heads that, these seven-figure business owners are just wake up one day like that. We forget everything that goes into it. So I love that you shared that because it's powerful.
Yeah.
Like, do you really want that? Is that what you really truly want? Because it's going to take a lot of hard work. Like you said, unicorns, there's a couple of them, but for the majority of us, it's not going to be the overnight success that you see.
Yeah, exactly. And, like I say, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And so, no, that's not what I want right now. I don't need $1 million business. I don't even need to, be making $100,000 a month business, right? Like, um, right now, 15 to 20K in my business a month is amazing. And I
Right.
love it. Right. And I get excited about that. And maybe in the future, or yes, in the future, when I'm not a stay home mom and my boys don't need me as much, I can put in that extra 15, 20 hours of work that is needed to grow my business into $1 million business. But so it's really like just getting real and not getting lost in the hype that you think you're not successful. I mean, even when I was hitting 5K months, like that was success to me. And at first I wasn't celebrating it, but it was like, oh my God, look at what I've done all by myself, like I have done this. And so start celebrating those wins that you don't maybe necessarily think are, quote unquote successful, because that's where the mindset piece comes in. You start celebrating those small wins. The universe is going to be like, oh, we are winning. You're right. We are. And it will just bring more and more and more for you.
Yes. And so often we do, we forget. We forget that our kids are going to become more independent as they get older. The time
Hmm.
that they are young is such a short period in time, and you can't buy back that time. So you might as well
Yeah.
embrace it while it's here. And we do so often forget to celebrate ourselves and the wins and how far we have come. I mean, a 5K month is definitely something to celebrate. Even, signing your first client,
Yeah.
breaking through all of those little wins. We get so caught up in just checking the boxes and the to dos that we forget how far we've actually come and the work we've put in to build the results.
Exactly. And, if you find yourself checking the boxes, that's a really good place to start of like, okay, what am I actually doing?
Exactly, exactly. And let's dive into a little bit more on imposter syndrome because that's something I think that can really sneak up in our subconscious and we don't even realize that it's there until it's really taken over. What are your thoughts on imposter syndrome?
Yeah, it's once again, it's those belief, right? It's the belief system that got programmed inside of you when you were a kid. So I mean, for me, it was I wasn't smart enough. And that was what is a really interesting thing considering I'm a holistic functional health coach, right? I'm talking about epigenetics and microbiome and endocrine systems and doing like really scientific things.
Yeah.
And I still to this day, and I don't mean it in a negative way, I'm not academic. Like, give me snowboarding and roller skates and rainbows and cartwheels any day, right? Like, sitting in a lecture and like really studying this stuff does not set my soul on fire. But I did it at a necessary purpose for myself to learn this. And, you know, I went from multiple failed IVFs, miscarriages, years of unexplained infertility, then told I had low A quality, high natural killer cells. There was nothing I can do to improve my situation. And I ended up having an IVF baby and getting pregnant naturally. So, I had to be like, yes, no, I am smart enough to do this. I did it. I don't
Yeah.
like, like, I'm not, it's not that I am smart. I did it and I can do these things for other people. I have enough knowledge. Um, but it was really interesting to watch the language, right? So watch the language how you speak to yourself and even how you speak to other people. And it was other colleagues of mine who are way smarter than me. I mean, I am in awe of like their book smarts. And they were like, Monica, look, we understand what you're saying, but do you understand that you can deliver these messages in ways that we can't? Because we're like almost too smart,
Yeah.
like you have a way to like almost quote unquote done these things down so people understand it. And I was like, oh, yes, that like, and once you see yourself in this different light of like, okay, yeah, like I am the authority. I
Right.
do have this power. Okay, maybe I don't have it classically the way that we were once again programmed to believe that that was the only way to be quote unquote smart.
Yeah.
Um, and then you just work on those beliefs and it can be a hard road. I do think that, we've all been told, um, what's the quote? Something like, if it's not hard, it's not worth doing,
Right.
right?
Right. Yes.
And, if you want to start talking about shadow work and inner child work and, digging into the past, opening Pandora's box, that can be hard because it's hard to look at your past. It's hard to maybe relive those moments. And I think that's the cool thing about this Psyche modality is that you don't have to go digging. You don't have to relive, experiences. And you really just simply change the way your subconscious thinks about statements. So if you don't feel that you're worthy, you literally just turn it into I am worthy. You do some cross brain connections and positions, and you really just tap into that super conscious, subconscious, conscious mind connection. So, whatever kind of faith or religion that you are, we are working with that higher realm and those subconscious beliefs that everyone has, every walks of life have. So it's really finding the modalities that work well with you. I've done emotional freedom tapping, which has been amazing for the memories that I wanted to like talk about, right? And really like get out of my system. But when you're talking about subconscious mind, self-limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, it's you. You have to do the work. There's no course out there that is gonna it can teach you, but it's not going to do the work for you. You can't hire someone to build self-confidence for you, right? Like you can go and hire someone to do your sales funnel or your copy. This is all inner work that you have to do. And on certain levels, I did have a friend of mine, we were talking about this, and she said, do I really have to go deep to, you know, get all this? I really don't want to go there. And I just, I said, well, look, if you know in your body, if you feel in your soul that something is limiting to you, it's not allowing you to move to the next phase where you want to go, yes, you
Yeah.
have to do the work. If you don't, if you feel fine, you feel great with where your business is, you love life, no, of course not. You don't have to go anywhere near it. So you get to decide.
I love that. And to a common theme of what you've been discussing is finding a strategy that works for
Mhm.
you. Doing the inner work and finding what works for you. Because there, like you said, there's so many different things out there. And can they all
Absolutely.
work? Absolutely they can. But until you find what works best for you, that's where the true transformation is going to come. And it's not a quick fix, but it's trying and working on that path to self discovery and learning to trust in yourself. And the answers are within us. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Follow your intuition. Your body will always tell you what's right. And that's like, tapping back into imposter syndrome. When you're dealing with fertility issues and you don't feel smart and you're sitting in those doctor's offices and they're telling you one thing and your body is screaming, like, absolutely not. That's BS. Don't listen. And you don't listen. It's the same with business. And there's still, like business mistakes that I've made knowing that I shouldn't have done that, but I've listened to the experts and I've just
Right.
towed the line. So once again, like investing in learning how to follow your intuition, whether wherever that feeling comes from within your body is key.
It truly is. And, this is even something we need to be teaching our kids because
Mm,
society's changed so much, as you've touched upon too. We're taught to bury that emotion, that the only way to success is if you're doing well in school and checking all those boxes. And we're relying on all of this external validation now, which is
yeah.
it's scary.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean, from the
exactly.
get-go. Whew.
Yeah, I think I grew up that way too, though, and yeah, it breeds a lot of problems. And yeah, it's once, for me, my job is to create conscious mamas,
Mhm.
right? And I get a lot of secondary infertility, and it's a little bit more difficult when you already have kids because, as you know, they take up time, and space and energy. Um, but like you say, it's just those little steps, right? Every day, if you just do something little and even if it's like a different action, like so not looking at your phone at the first thing in the morning, or waking up 15 minutes early just so you have 15 minutes to yourself, to be just sit.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to do anything. Um, but little by little, a little becomes a lot. And I just say, just start. You got to drop the expectations, you got to drop the timelines, because those are what messes you up. Oh, I expected this to go this way. Oh, I thought I was going to be, making 100K in 6 months, so it didn't work. So forget it. It's like,
Right.
you, those are just made up. You literally made those up. Like those don't determine anything. Um, so absolutely, if you have children and you're learning this yourself as well, it's a really cool thing to actually do together.
Yeah.
Even my husband, like I've absolutely started talking about this in front of everyone, and it is very different and woo woo, but I think they see the changes in me, and that's kind of inspirational. And then the science is out there, right?
Right.
Like there was like a Nobel Peace Prize that just got like given for oh, I forget what it is. Sorry, bad story. Um something to do with like mindset. And so the science will catch up, and
Yeah.
always does. I started talking about gut health a decade ago and people thought I was like off my rocker. And now it's like, oh yeah, gut health, it's all a rage. It's like, yeah, duh. So this whole subconscious mind, and it's the driver's seat. It
Yeah.
literally is in control. Your conscious mind is not in control.
Oh my gosh. Monica, this was such a great conversation. Where can we learn more and get into your world?
Yeah, so I'm at Finding Fertility everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, my website, podcast. And yeah, I hang out primarily, definitely on my podcast, and over on TikTok.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of this wisdom with our listeners today. And until next time, stop dreaming and start taking messy action. You've got this. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.